In this video, we'll look at some of the things we can do with lines and angles. So if I want to create a line, I can come up here to the top. It says line, and if I wanted to create different types of lines, I could click the drop down. If I'm going to do just line, and if I just highlight over top of it, not touching anything, it says select 2 points. Now if you look, I have no points, but if I click on the screen and click again, it'll create those 2 points for me. Now if I come over here back to the arrow, my arrow will allow me to always move objects. So I could move my line, I could also move my point on the line, or use it to shift my line. Okay, so those are some of the basics that I can do. Now with lines, I do have other operations that I can perform on them. For example, if I go to the next box over and do this drop down, I could create perpendicular, parallel lines. I create a bisector and all these other things. So let's start with just the idea of a perpendicular line. If I click perpendicular line and I just highlight over it, it says select point and perpendicular line. So I can select any point I want. So maybe I'll select point B and then select the line I want to be perpendicular to. And now if I use my move tool again, no matter how I turn this line B, as they're calling it, is going to be perpendicular to line AB. And if I put a point on each of these sides, I can even measure these angles. And to do that, I'd come to the angle measurement. So when I do that, I want to use the very first one there. It says angle. And I have to measure counterclockwise. This is very important. So I want to say counterclockwise means I would go from this side over to this side. So I'd click on point D, B, C. And you see it even puts the 90-degree sign there. If I wanted to check this one, I'd go from C down to A. So C, B, A. Again, 90 degrees. I even have the mark there. And it's putting the angle measures over here for me to see as well. And if you want, you can always click and drag on the measures to move them out so it's a little bit easier to see. So I can tell that every single one of those angles is 90 degrees. Now say I want to create a parallel line. If I come back to my operations area and click on parallel line and just highlight over, it says select a point and a parallel line. So maybe I want to be parallel to this line and I want to be going through point A. And you can see there that no matter how I twist, turn, move this, it is always parallel to this other line. And that's a nice feature of one of the operations I can do with GeoGebra.